This lesson is Foresters at Work, where we're going to be exploring the tools that foresters use and the knowledge they need to make forests healthy. To prepare for this lesson, you're going to want to come up into this skid road area of the forest and pre-flag a handful of trees that you're going to be using. You're going to need 4 to 5 trees that are going to be specialized for your students. We are going to ask students to go off trail on this activity, so you want to make sure that the trees they're going to are easily accessible and not going to be around any hazards. So make sure to come out here and scope it out ahead of time, flag or tag the trees that they're going to be using, and make sure that they're in a good, easily accessible location. To start this activity, we're going to engage with a very favorite of all environmental educators, meet a tree. For this activity, you're going to have students blindfolded. So again, pointing out hazards and setting boundaries is really important. You're going to have students pair up or be in groups of 3, and you're going to have them decide who's going to be the leader and who's going to be the follower first. The follower is going to put on their blindfold, and the leader is going to gently and carefully guide them to any tree that they can get to easily. Again, setting boundaries for this is so important. Make sure that students know how to appropriately guide someone, whether or not it's by touching their shoulders or holding their hand, and also how to alert their guide or their guided person rather to hazards that may be on the ground. Tell them to look for rocks, tell them to look for sticks, and then to make sure to carefully explain and slowly guide their participant so that everybody can stay safe. When they get to the tree, the blindfolded participant gets to explore the tree with all of their other senses. So have them touch the tree, smell the tree, listen to the tree. Get a really good sense of it, because they're then going to be led back to your main central meeting area and unblindfolded, and then they have to try and find the tree that they were at. So you're thinking about how big it was, what it felt like, how far they traveled. Maybe they can search back and find their tree. You're going to give students an opportunity to switch roles and to each try it. This is an opportunity to engage the senses, to think about what trees are in the forest, and to have a little fun. For the explore portion of this lesson, students are going to get to know trees the ways that foresters do. Explain that a forester is someone who works to sell timber, restore lands, and create healthy forests. In this activity, you're going to split the students up into 4 groups. You want to have one group who's going to explore ponderosa pine, one who's going to explore white fir, one that's going to explore Douglas fir, and one that's going to explore incense cedar, like this tree here. All 4 of these trees are readily available with an easy access of this skid road junction. You're going to send them off with a kit and their field notebooks. Please make sure to remind them to fill out their tree investigation page and explain that they're going to have about 15 minutes to learn as much as they can about their tree, using their tree identification card and some of the tools that are in their kit. You don't have to explain exactly how to use all the forestry tools right off the bat. Let them explore it a little. There are some cue cards in their kits that will help to explain how to use those tools, and they can try and figure it out as a team. This is a good challenge for them. Once 10 or 15 minutes is over, you can call the group back and collect some of that shared knowledge that they now have. While the students are out working, I would go ahead and kind of move amongst the groups, giving some support without really doing any direct teaching. Help them to answer their own questions and provide support in using some of those tools if they need it. But again, that struggle is good. Let them have a few minutes to try and figure it out on their own. In the explain portion of this lesson, we're going to think about what makes a forest healthy. Now we know a little bit about these trees that we see here in this forest, and now we want to think about, well, how do we know if this forest is healthy and what makes a healthy forest? You're going to use the forest health cards to share and ask questions of students. So share each card, ask students, do they think the picture in this forest is healthy or not healthy, and what do they want to know more about. Go through each card, getting some of their observations and questions out for the whole group, and then go ahead and describe some of the factors that make a healthy forest. Is it resilient to fire? What are the age and growth of the trees in the forest? Is there a diversity of trees here? What is the climate like? Is there enough water and resources for the trees? There are so many factors that make a healthy forest, and partly that's because forests are always changing. Here at Willow-Witt, there's been a lot of change to these forests, and they work with foresters regularly to help to maintain a healthy forest, to thin out trees, to plant diverse trees, and to help to bring this forest back to a really healthy level. To evaluate and reflect on this lesson and to wrap it up at the end, you're going to share with students the Data Healthy Forest sheet. And so you're going to have a large poster of this information with some pre-collected data on the forest. And then you can add in some of the data you can collect as a group from your tree boring and observations. Students will also record this information inside their student notebooks and then answer the phrase or finish the phrase, "The forests at Willow-Witt are healthy or not healthy because." So they're collecting all that data, analyzing it, and then sharing out with the rest of the group about the current state of the forest here at Willow-Witt. Now, thinking about some of those modifications that you might need during this lesson typically would take place up here at the Skid Row Junction. Now, if mobility is an issue, it can easily take place pretty much anywhere else here at the ranch that you have access to a variety of tree species. Also, that meet a tree activity at the very beginning could be really difficult if you're trying to social distance. So instead, if you need to modify that, have students simply go out, find a tree on their own, and close their eyes and explore it with their other senses. This will still engage them and draw some of those early observations of trees that we're looking for. As always, for English language learners, you want to utilize some sentence frames, give them some opportunities to use language that's scientific, that is already provided for them, and definitely go over the vocabulary multiple times, identifying those tools as well as the trees and any other scientific language we're using, because science is a new language in and of itself. So we want to do that for all of our learners.